Color schemes again, if you watched my last video, I covered same palette, same as the palette. I can just show again: cobalt blue, um, raw sienna, burnt umber. Um, this is phthalo blue, but sometimes I mix it with any of the yellows to get at different greens. I don't use green. I mean, I have it in my palette like sap green and some greens, but I usually mix green and my blues and yellows. Red, this is a Indian red, which I might use in these nearby uh, mountains, both sides. I think that's all. That's It's a very limited palette. That's probably all what I'm going to leave a lot of white in sky. While I'm here, I can probably do the light. So I use some burnt sienna, and on top of it, I had cobalt blue in my palette, so use that. Gives a beautiful feeling of a distant mountain. And while this is wet, I want to use this edge so I get some blurry effect of clouds. Some burnt sienna, raw sienna, burnt umber. Now need to introduce some green. And also fresh green. I'll cover this tree trunk because tree trunk is going to be dark, so it can come above that. I'm a little careful here because this is a small boundary which I don't want to touch. I'll leave some white here as well, and try to leave some white even in the this section. So while it's wet, you can do whatever you want. It's not dead. So when it's too wet, then next, when you're trying wet on wet, next thing is to add a higher consistency. Otherwise, it'll bleed too much, and then you won't get much good effect. So if earlier was light, now have a medium consistency. I think I'm fairly okay with this. I'll start with the right. Coming to some green at the bottom. And this is another mountain, so I might do a dark ultra burnt umberish. And leave some white to constantly remind me to leave white. It's not easy. You need to get it into a practice. So this is done. Now house roofs. I can take any nice different color, whether it's cerulean blue, it could be green, it could be any, but it's straight color. I mean, I'm not diluting much. And light is coming from this side, so this will be white, this will be a little very, very, very light tone. But there's a difference between this and right side. Same here. And in fact, there is some shadow, so I might cover something on wall. And now a very light tone here. This is the building, leaving some white on the top. And now this portion is green. So I have to keep myself at least 2 green puddle ready, so that when the time comes, I'm not really busy mixing. Okay, this is going to be very light, leaving some white on the animals for a highlight. And here is my introduce the dark. The second puddle I was talking. I'm trying to see if I can drop it so that it can show some texture, but not very successful because it's small paper. It may just go everywhere. Probably not. Or I may just touch it instead of sprinkling. Okay, now I need to wait for this area to dry so that I can give darks here, add a tree, add these animals. So I'll just going to dry this. At this point, if you're not happy with this, while it is wet, you can still do quite a lot. Take a small brush and try to add some texture for grass. As I was saying, I want this side more shadow, so leaving these highlights. I'll stop doing more and wait for it to dry. All right, let's do now the fine details. I forgot which artist said, but he said this is the jewelry making when you're giving small, how much it changes. Some dry brush for nearby trees, and if you want to give good contrast, you can add that. I think I'm pretty happy. I'm now just going to add these livestocks. It's going to be medium color, not too dark. And probably cover the half so it still stays the top highlight. You can add more texture with the dry brush at grass, maybe some shadows. I would stay away now at this stage. It's always, fear of doing too much, and then you lose. Just need to connect wherever these, so the piece all looks connected. I think there's one option I can give some color foliage. So at this point I wasn't sure. I'm just trying. Just to give it a little more greenery, freshness. Yeah, I like it. So I think that's done. I might just add some birds, which is my favorite. And call it a done piece. Hope you like it. I can bring it closer and see if see, this was done probably in 10 to 15 minutes. Size of paper is small, and yeah, let me know. I mean, if you drop a comment, if you like, you can share, you can send me your pieces as well. You can tag me however you want if you learn anything out of it. Highly recommend this book, and it's in the description as well. All right, thank you. Have a great day.